Is this the math lesson?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a bunch of us that were having a problem with the link. So Mr. Atkins just sent a new link. So you might want to give it a minute.
Yes, I am. I just sent him another link to try. I don't know what happened because it's the same link that I sent and other people were able to get on. So I'm not sure what happened, but I did just send him that.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for the heads up.
I call you when I need you and my heart's on fire. You come to me wild and wild. You come to me.
That's really cool.
Give me everything I need.
What?
Give me a lifetime of promises and a world of dreams. Speak the language of love like you know what it means. And it can't be wrong. Take my heart and make it strong, babe. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone.
I don't even know how to put these things in.
Anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say.
Alright, you ready?
Tear us apart. Baby, I'd rather be dead. In your heart I see the start of every night and every day. In your eyes I get lost, I get washed away. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I can be in no better place. You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. We'll tear us apart.
Do you have your ID, Lauren?
I'd rather be dead. Oh, each time you leave me, I start losing control. Like you're walking away with my heart and my soul. I can feel you, babe, even when I'm alone. Baby,
Donna will be back.
go.
Do you mind driving? Thank you.
Better than all the rest. Better than anyone.
Yep.
Anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your heartbeat. I hang on every word you say. We'll tear us apart. Well, I would rather be dead. Ooh. Oh, the best.
After IST, I should probably check too, huh?
I call you when I need you.
Hi guys, I'm just gonna keep re-going while we're waiting for people to come in.
You come to me wild and wild. You come to
Throw in the
me.
chat with how you're
Give me
feeling
everything
today.
I need.
I'll tell you, I was
Give me a lifetime
feeling
of
an 8
promises and a world
this
of
morning,
dreams.
and then when the link isn't working, now I'm more of a 1. So
Speak the language of love like you know what it means.
hi Adrian, glad you're
It
here.
can't be wrong.
Hey, thank you for all that,
Take my
Gabby. Well,
heart
go
and make
ahead.
it strong.
Of course.
You're simply the best. Better than all the rest. Better than anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your heart. I hang on every word you say. We'll tear us apart. Baby, I would rather be dead. heart, I see the start of every night and every day. In your eyes, I get lost, I get washed away. Just as long as I'm here in your arms, I can be in no better place. You're simply the best, better than all the rest, better than anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your heart, I hang on every word you say. Will tear us apart. I'd rather be dead. Oh, each time you leave me, I start losing control. I get walking away with my heart and my soul. I can feel you, babe, even when I'm alone. Baby, don't let go, 'cause you're simply the best. Better than all the rest, better than anyone I've ever met. And I'm stuck on your heartbeat.
All right, guys, I am going to go ahead and just get started. I know everybody's still kind of filtering in, but it is being recorded. And so I'm just going to go ahead and get started just for the sake of time. But hi, welcome. So I am Gabby. I am a student teacher with the Cleveland Teaching Fellowship through Cleveland State. I'm at Hannah Gibbons this year, and I was so kindly asked to do this presentation by our principal, Mr. Adkins.
Excuse me, Gabby, could you
Yeah.
ask people to mute? Apparently that's a real tricky thing for some folks. It's about the third thing I've been on, and so people need to mute. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, of course. Yes. Go ahead. Please mute yourselves.
How do I mute?
I don't see anyone unmuted, I don't think. But yeah, definitely we'll make sure that we keep ourselves muted out of respect for everyone else. All right, so I'm going to keep it moving here. All right, so what we're hoping to get through today, hopefully we have enough time with the introductions. I might run a little long, but it is being recorded, so if you have to leave, no worries. So we've got our warm up. We're going to go over our goals. I'm going to talk about some digital resources, some physical resources, and then I also have just some additional resources to push out to you that I'm not necessarily going to cover right now, but you can, search through at any time. And then we're going to leave time for a wrap up at the end too. So I'm going to make this small for 1 second here, just so that I can push this out to you here. Let me find the chat box. Give me 1 second. And sorry, I appreciate everyone sticking with me here. So I'm going to throw in the chat box is a link to my slides. So what you can do here is you can click on this and it'll ask you to make a copy immediately. That way you have your own copy, and then you can take any notes that you want right on there. And then also everything that I talk about is hot linked. So you can click on anything that's underlined and it will take you to the resource that I'm speaking about. And that's going to come in handy later for sure. So yeah, I'm going to just minimize that back over here in the corner and I'll go back to sharing my screen. All right, so our goals for today, we have, we're going to just share some resources and skills that you can take with you and just start using them immediately. And then I also obviously want to acknowledge the expertise that's already in the room and gain feedback from everyone on how these strategies can fit into your practice. And so that's going to be our reflection piece at the end. All right, and then let me get back into present mode here. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started here with this. So yeah, so it'll ask you to make a copy just like that. All right, so when I start with my planning, the very first thing I do is I have this lesson plan overview that I created. And so the first page has the master copy, which is blank. And then the second page just kind of shows how I work through it. So I use Engage New York or Eureka Math for everything that I do. So I have all of that written up here. I kind of organize myself with what is going to be the general topic that I'm discussing this week. So I'll include that right up there. Dates. So I hot link things. I have my standards included. My I can statement. Everything's just kind of like organized in. And so as I scroll down here, so I include my summary, links to my slideshows, any links to any videos I'm going to be using, any homework that I'm giving out is linked. And then I also use this space down here at the bottom. As I go over homework, I just kind of write like who gets it and who needs reinforcements. And then I write like what specifically they needed reinforcements of for that. And so this is shared with you guys. So on the slideshow, you will be taken to it, just like it just asked me to make a copy. It'll have you make a copy. And then if you wanted to use this, that is something that is available to you guys. Do we have any questions about anything of this before I move on?
So did you just say that you're sharing this with us?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is shared out. So the link in the description box, and I'll drop the link again closer towards the end. If anybody was jumping on and missed it from at first,
I just wanted to make sure I
has
heard.
everything is hot linked, and you can just click on it and it'll take you right to make a copy just like it did for me. And then you can engage with this in any way you choose.
Okay, thank you.
I just clicked on it and it says I have to request access.
Oh, go ahead, click request access. I'll grant it to you. It should be, let me make sure it's shared one more time. Or well, I guess this is the copy that I made. I'll go through and double check everything at the end because this is the other one, but I'll make sure that everybody's granted access by the end here.
Quick question, and this
Yeah.
might sound really silly. How did
Yeah.
you get that arrow you're using?
Oh, so it is a Google add-on. Give me 1 second and I can tell you the name of it.
Thank
So
you.
it's called Custom Cursor for Chrome. It's a little add-on, and my one friend is on here too, and she texted me about it, and I told her I was Hufflepuff through and through, so I've got my Harry Potter cursor.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, right. And then, so that is how I organize and keep track of all of my links. And the other bit that I do to kind of keep track of things is I created this asynchronous assignment tracker, which I originally found on Teacher Pay Teachers. It's free. The original link is, I'm sorry, what was that?
Thank you.
Oh, all right. So originally I had downloaded this from Teacher Pay Teacher. It was free. The original link is down here on the slideshow. If you guys wanted to check that out from Teacher Pay Teacher, I customized it for my needs, and that's what I shared with you guys here too. So on here, I have the students organized by last name first and then first name. This makes it easier for me because I'm using Seesaw. And so everything is graded by first name on Seesaw. That's how everything goes in for my own grading purposes. That was easier for me. And then I included an example over here of how I actually use it. So I have these little check boxes here. And so as students complete assignments, I just throw a little check on it. And then I write the assignment up here at the top. And when you scroll over here, I have a spot for comments. So because I'm just giving a completed or a not completed, all of my comments are usually on Seesaw. But if there's anything particular that I needed to note that I wanted to have handy, I'll throw it in here into this general comments area. And then once a student completes all of the work for the week, if they've turned in 100%, I just go ahead and turn their name green so that I know. And then for students who have not logged on at all this week, or if they have not completed any work, I make a note of that along with any like parent contact information. And I just go ahead and turn them this kind of orangey red color so that I can just quick glance at who's done what. When you scroll down to the bottom of this, it will show you, it'll automatically calculate for you how many students turned in a particular assignment. And then it'll give you like a weekly class average of how many people turned in homework for that week. So that's how I go about keeping track of asynchronous assignments. And that is also linked for you. Did we have any questions there before I move on? Okay.
Where are the links in the chat?
I can send the link again. Yep, give me 1 second. Let me stop sharing so I can get to my chat box, and I'll send the link again. So the link is to, sorry, 1 second, my computer is glitching out. Here we go. So the link is to the slideshows, and then the slideshow has hot links inside of it. So give me 1 second to bring that back up, and I'll send that through again. All right. Okay. And share screen again. All righty. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much how I utilize Google Sheets on a daily basis. So I use Google Sheets for my planning, and I use Google Sheets for the assignment tracker. The other big way I use digital resources, I use Google Slides every single day. In every lesson, I use Google Slides. So I have a couple of things to share with you here. So this is my active math warm-up slide. So this is a way that I really engage with students and help them do something that's kind of fun, kind of shake it up. It's usually like the first thing that they do right when they're logging into math. So as everybody's kind of logging on, we have this going. So it's just loading up for me here. It's kind of a bigger file, so it just takes a second. So as they go through this, so I have everybody stand up, and then we go through different math facts. So I'm in 3rd grade, my kids are learning multiplication, and so I included things that were relevant to what we're doing here. So I let them know, you know, some slides are going to have multiplication sentences that you finish, others are going to have arrays where you're coming up with a multiplication sentence for that array, and then other slides will have exercise symbols. So these are the moves, and my kids have them memorized now because we do them almost every day. And so they have their elephant stomps, their penguin waddles, their bunny hops. It just kind of keeps them having fun. So I turn it into present mode, and I'll throw this up here. So it'll say 2 times 1, and the kids will take themselves off mute and yell 2, or they'll throw up, you know, their fingers and show 2. And then the next slide will have their answer. And then the next slide will have them do elephant stomps. And so this is something that they really, really love. I also included skip counting. And then when they're doing the skip counting, I'll have them, you know, I'll go like this to show them that they're going up, or they'll go like this to show that they're counting down. And then when it's time to stop, we do the X. There's arrays on here as well. So they'll have to come up with a multiplication sentence that describes their array. So like for this one, they would come up with 2 times 4 equals 8. And that's something that they really love. And I do tend to turn on music when we're doing this too. So I turn it on really low, like in the background, just to kind of like fill that space. Yeah, do we have any questions about the active multiples of 2 before I move on? All right. So we will keep rolling. All right. So then another way that I use Google Slides is escape rooms and games. And so here is an example of an escape room. I did not create this escape room. This is one that I found. And I found it for free on one of the resources that I'll share with you. I found it on Facebook. And so these escape rooms are so cool. People are so creative. And this was one that I found specifically for a couple of my kids who were on IEPs, and part of their goal was working on 2-digit addition. And so I found this one, shared it with our intervention specialist, and we kind of went from there. And so they use these, and they're linked with, you know, music and sound and hot links when they're in present mode, where they'll go through. And they're just really fun, and they're really engaging. And I've used escape rooms even full class. And so it's a little bit different than traditional escape rooms because normally they'd be working in small groups and things like that. But with, I know with my kids in this virtual setting, kind of putting them off into breakout rooms isn't always the most productive use of time. And so doing it in a full group still helps. And so everyone works out every problem on their paper. We do it as a class. You know, they hold up their paper to the screen or they type it in the chat what they think the answer is. They take themselves off mute. I use equity sticks that I have back here behind me, and I'll pull names sometimes. There's a bunch of different ways to keep the kids engaged, but they work through different problems, and they really get very excited about these, and they get very committed to the escape room. So once we started, if we don't finish and we have to pick it up the next day, it'll be like the first thing they'll say in the morning is like, oh, do we get to finish our escape room today? And they just really love these. But before I move on, does anyone have any questions about using escape rooms with the whole class? All right, keep it moving. All right, and then another way to use these is games. And so make a copy here. All right, so this is an example of a game that I actually created for one of my classes at Cleveland State, but it fit right in with what my kids were doing, so it's something that they can use. And it's just a memory game here, so it'll have them click on it. They can kind of pull this over and it'll say 3 times 4, and then they'll, you know, just move things and kind of look for answers. And, you know, if they don't get it, they put it back. Again, this is something they can do independently. This is something they can do in small groups, or it's a game that we could play whole group as well if we needed to. Does anyone have any questions about games or anything like that before I move forward? No? All right. And then this is the chunk of it. So this is like the big part here. So these are my daily slides that I use. So I create these completely based off of the Eureka curriculum. And so once this loads up, we'll go through here. Okay, so these are my daily slides that I use. So I always include the topic up here at the very top. I have our objectives, our overview so that they know what exactly is coming. And then whatever standard we're working on, I always find a way to include that too. At the bottom of all my slides, I include our standard and our I can statement, and that's going to be at the bottom of every slide. And we always start with a warm up. And so our warm up on this day was skip counting. And so we skip counted together. And this is when they were still learning. We were still establishing the routine of thumbs up means count higher, thumbs down means count backwards, and then the X meant stop. And so we were still establishing that routine back when we did this particular lesson plan. So I included that on the slide here to review that with them before we actually did it. And that has worked out really well. They really enjoy anything that gets them engaged, anything that gets them talking, they love. And we have our KWL chart. So ask them again, you know, like, what do we know about these particular terms? What wonders do we have? And they called out different things, and, you know, I would type it in or they would type it in the chat, and we would go over their know and wonders, and we would come back to this several times. So every day on the Eureka Math lesson plans, they include an application problem. And so I just rework that into these slides so that it's in a more, I guess, a more pleasing to look at kind of approach. And so for this one, it had them looking at, you know, carton of eggs and arrays. And so I just found a picture to include that showed an array of the 2 times 6. And we again used this, like, I'll just click in here and we'll add in different things as they go. Do we have any questions or concerns or anything from anybody so far before I keep moving? Okay. Alrighty, then we will keep on going. All right, and then another way that I engage kids is we use videos. We use videos quite a bit. So between Brain Pop and YouTube, we use videos almost every day, either as a warm up or as a way to kind of break up a lot of speaking. And at the end, we'll do a comprehension check and we'll have a conversation about it. So for this one in particular, there was like this factoring video that the kids really loved. Oh, and of course now it's not working. But there was a video about factoring that they really loved, and only like the first minute and a half or so fit into what we were talking about. So we'd watch the first minute and a half, we'd pause it, we'd come back, and we would do our math chat. And that always works out really well. Sometimes kids are reluctant to participate, but that's when we break out the equity sticks and we call on people, and then that usually starts something once you have the first kid, you know, talk, and then from there more kids are usually willing to speak. All right, and then moving forward, so on this particular day they were learning about number bonds, and so I related it back to their application problem, which is, you know, exactly like what's written on the Eureka Math curriculum. And so we just reiterate that before moving into this. And so this is a picture that I included. So I use my whiteboard and for almost everything. And sometimes it's just way easier to draw out a concept than to try to create something on Google Slides, right? Like this is just way faster just to write it out. And so for something like this, I'll just write out all my concepts and then I'll save the picture to my Google Drive and I can automatically just upload that right into my slides. All right, and then so when I'm doing things again, there are different ways that you can utilize Google Slides. So you can change these, you can add on the little lines and things, and it just keeps things really engaging for the kids. They really like that. Again, you know, math terms, revisiting our KWL chart. And give me 1 second here. Let me scroll down. Okay, so this is the other part of it. So they have a lot of independent work that they complete as well. So not everything that we do is whole group. Sometimes they have their homework or their assignments and things like that. And the thing that's tricky is you can't just upload PDF sheets necessarily into Seesaw because Seesaw has a very particular format and it has to be kind of like this rectangle shape. And so what I do is I will screenshot different sections of different questions and then I'll upload them into my PowerPoint here. And then I have them on my slideshow so we can go over them the next day. We can review their homework together. But I can also just take a quick screenshot of this and upload this image to Seesaw, and then the kids can write over it. And so it's, again, it's in more of like a pretty kind of format. It's able to take exactly what Eureka Math wants them to do, but it's in a Seesaw format now. And so that works out really well. And then if anyone has any questions about how to screenshot or how to take screenshotted photos and add them into Seesaw or anything like that, we can definitely cover that at the end. Just let me know because we should have plenty of time for that. But that is pretty much, I don't think there was anything else on this slide here to go over that was new information. And then this, well, this is the, so these are problem sets that we work through as a whole group. It's, again, very similar to the homework. I just take my screenshots, I upload it here, and then we can solve them together. And you can use the different shape tools that they offer to create number bonds and things like that. And oh, you know what, there was one more. So for some of these, the cool thing with Google is you can just kind of slide things over to hide them and then have them ready to go. So if you want to tell the kids like, okay, like, you know, based on this number bond, you draw an array, And then you can just kind of slide this over and it's ready to go with more like fun images. So here I used emojis. All right. Do I have any questions about any of this? I'm sorry, I feel like I'm talking at you guys a lot. Does anyone have anything to add? Any questions? No. All right. Let me close this out here. All right, and then the last piece of Google that I use is Google Jamboard, and Google Jamboard has been incredibly life-changing since I found it. I use it for controlled interaction. There's natural differentiation that can happen through choice that I use Google Jamboard for. And then I actually use my iPad and Apple Pencil in conjunction with Google Jamboard to make writing easier for me. So I will bring that up. Okay, so this was a lesson that we did last week. And again, I screenshot what I had made my daily slides from, and then I just uploaded that image. So you can click this add image button right here, and then you can just resize it and you can write right over top of it. And like I said, I use my iPad and my Apple Pencil, but if you don't have those tools available to you, you can just click on the pen and you can write on it that way too. And so this is a tool that anyone can use with any, as long as you have a laptop with you or something. And so we solve our problems together this way, interactively. And then, let me find it. Okay. So something that I try to offer my kids as frequently as I can is choice. And so these were two problems that I threw up on the screen for everybody, and I put them on a timer and I told them, pick one of these problems and try it. And I knew that this second problem was going to be easier for students to solve, and that this first one was going to be more challenging because this one used addition, whereas this one used subtraction, which is, typically a little bit more of a reach for some kids. And so I throw that up, throw them on a timer, and then when we're done, we come back together and we solve the problems together. This particular time, the kids had a really hard time with the first problem, the kids who attempted the first problem. So we went through and we solved the first problem completely, but there were still a lot of questions. So what I did was I actually just clicked on my image and deleted it out, gave myself this blank screen, and I just started redrawing things out. And we wrote, something over here, and the kids were able to copy all of that down. And for the next problem, this one was a little bit simpler. They had no issues understanding this. And so we just solved it right on here. And that was really great. Something that I introduced with the kids yesterday was allowing them to use sticky notes. So you can just click this button over here and it'll bring you up to a blank template. So something that I did yesterday was I shared our Google Jamboard with the kids in the chat box, kind of like how I shared the slides with you guys. And then I let them add their own sticky notes. So they can click this button right here, and then it will let them type their own words, click save, and it'll create this sticky note. And so yesterday we started introducing this. So I've only been using Jamboard for the last 2 weeks. And now that I'm a pro at using it, I've started sharing it out with them. So yesterday we set our ground rules, we set our norms, and that was all created by them. So the only thing that I said was, about resizing sticky notes. So I said, we can make our sticky notes smaller or we can leave it the same, but we don't want to make our sticky notes huge because then other people can't get their sticky notes on the board. And so that was something that we talked about, and they came up with all of these different things, and we had a full Google Jamboard filled with their guidelines that they created for themselves. And then I screenshot that, shared it on Seesaw, and that way their parents could see it. We can reference it whenever we need to. And now moving forward, it's something that I can use as an assessment, because a lot of the times we want to do like fist to 5, right? Where we'll say like, if you don't understand this concept at all, give me, a fist. If you feel like you're a pro, give me a 5. Right now, a lot of kids don't want to participate in that because everyone can see them. And so if they type in the chat that they don't understand it, everyone can see that they don't understand it. And if they hold up their hands, everyone can see it. The nice thing with this is because the kids aren't signing in with Google accounts, they're anonymous. And so they can, instead of, doing the fist of 5 on here, they can just tell me, their number, and I'll see the number. So if I see that I'm getting a lot of 1s, if I see that I'm getting a lot of 2s, I know that I'm not doing something in a way that they understand, and I can kind of walk it back. But if I see that I'm getting all 4s and 5s, on the other hand, I'll know that I'm ready to move forward. So this is a nice little form of assessment that I can use there now that they've been introduced to that. Does anyone have any questions about Jamboard? No? All right, so we will keep it moving here. All right, and then so I did say too that I like to use Brain Pop to kind of break up a lot of talking. And so we'll insert videos there. And then this is cool. So this is called Toy Theater Virtual Manipulatives. And so on this website, they have a ton of different virtual manipulatives that you can use. They're all free. And they have them for just about like any math thing that you can think of. There is something in here for you. So if we click on the spinner, it'll show you all of these different spinner tools, and you can change them up. And if you need, my computer's freezing, sorry. So you can kind of adjust it for your needs. And this is a really cool thing to have on hand. And I did hot link that as well for you guys to explore that if you wanted to go through there. But do we have any questions about, how to insert Brain Pop or how to use the virtual manipulatives, anything like that before I move forward? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I keep.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just had a question about Brain Pop. When we have for Cleveland, they go directly to Clever to go onto it.
Yeah.
But when I do the link like on my Schoology page,
Sure.
some of them can open it and some of them cannot. So
Yeah,
I don't know what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. I would check. So when I use Brain Pop, I don't typically assign it for their asynchronous work. We do have an app for it. And I know my kids had trouble with it too. I typically use Brain Pop during my instruction. And so I just insert the video into my slides. Oh, thank you for including that link, Emily. But I do know that has been a struggle for some.
Okay.
But they also have a lot of the Brain Pop videos are on YouTube. So if they really can't, like if it's really not working, if you just search the particular Brain Pop video that you want, you can almost always find it on YouTube.
Yeah, because they can actually, when they go on and do the quizzes, it goes, I can see it. It doesn't go directly to my grade book, but I can see it. So if they did it on YouTube, would I not, I wouldn't be able to see.
No. Yeah, so you wouldn't be able to see it, but if it was just something for them to watch. Sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Of course. And then somebody said, can you
Yes.
use this? Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Miguel Nieves. I work for Marion Caesar. I have a question. Can you incorporate this program to the whiteboard in Microsoft Teams and Schoology?
So I don't know about Schoology. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Schoology. In 3rd grade, we're still using Seesaw at my school. But yeah, so this stuff you can definitely do. So with Microsoft Teams, I only used Microsoft Teams for about 3 weeks before we switched over to Zoom. But there was like that, there should be a whiteboard feature on there that you can use, and you can use that very similarly to Jamboard. I preferred Jamboard because it gave that sticky note feature, where
Okay.
everything was just kind of organized. And so I really loved that. But yeah, you can definitely use this. So when I'm doing my daily slides, or when we're doing like the escape rooms and everything like that, that's just me screen sharing out. So you can definitely take all of this and incorporate that into Microsoft Teams just as easily as you can on Zoom. As long as you can screen share, you can use the everything
Okay.
else.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, of course. Were there any other questions? And I know Emily did throw in the chat there that that link for Toy Theater, which it has been such a lifesaver. It's really a nice tool to have at your disposal there. And then, all right, I'm gonna kind of move forward a little bit more quickly just because we've only got about 10 minutes left, and I wanted to give you guys some time for some independent exploring. So when it comes to physical resources, obviously I'm using physical resources a little bit less than if we were in the actual classroom, but two ways that I really do use them every day is, like I said, I have my whiteboard and my dry eraser. And sometimes I'll either hold it up as I go, or I'll insert pictures into my slideshow like I showed on my daily slides. Another thing that I do a lot is I make a lot of videos for parents and a lot of videos for the kids to go back and reflect on. And so what I'll do sometimes with that is I will print off the Eureka worksheets, particularly the problem set ones. And I have, you can see my little setup here. Let me kind of turn my camera angle here. So I have this little guy, and I put my phone right in here, and I use my phone as a document camera, and I just face it right down, and I work out a problem set, and I kind of use, like, I explain my thinking out loud as I'm going while I solve through these problem sets. And then the problem set mirrors their homework very closely. And so that way parents can see, you know, this is how I can help my kid do their homework. Or if the kid is working independently, they can watch that video and they can see, okay, so for this problem that looked like this, this is the strategy she used. And then they can go back and reference that at any time. And then it's also a little bit shorter than if they had to rewatch our entire 50-minute block. They're not going to go back and rewatch that entire video. But if it's just, you know, a 10-minute video of, you know, this is how you work through these problems, and that's really the thing that they need to be working on anyway, is the actual application. And so that works out really well. And I do use my iPhone to do that. And I linked a video right here that is what I use to learn how to use my iPhone as a document camera. This works for Zoom. I don't know how to do it in Teams. I know someone mentioned that they were using Teams. So that was something, but again, a little, you know, a Google search and a YouTube video, and it'll link it to, I'm sure there has to be a way. But yeah, definitely I see someone said they use their iPhone too, and it's been so lovely, especially for making these videos. And also here, I wanted to include all of these additional resources that I use. So Number Rock has a lot of really catchy videos that are wonderful. Pocketful of Primary is really wonderful. She's a 4th grade teacher, and she's very tech savvy, and a lot of the things that I learned, like Toy Theater, I actually picked up from her. The Lettered Classroom, she mainly covers ELA topics, and I love those. Mandy Walker posts videos teaching different Eureka math subjects. And so sometimes if there's something where, like, I feel like I need an idea of how to teach this virtually, I'll pop onto hers, and she already has a whole lesson made, and then I can model my lesson off of her resource. And again, all of these are hot linked, and I will throw in the link to the slideshow again so that you can have access to all of this as well. And then I wanted to use our remaining time here, so we've got about 6 minutes left. I wanted to let you guys go ahead and explore these links. So I'm just going to turn on some music in the background and let you guys just kind of explore through, click through, and then when you're done looking through your resource, you can click on this link here, and it will take you to a collaborative Google Jamboard. And then you'll just create a sticky note and write one way that you think you can incorporate the resource that you looked at into your current teaching process. And I will send the link. I'm going to stop sharing one more time. So I'll send the link to the Jamboard in the Google, in the chat as well. So let me send that through. But again, that's also in the slideshow. And then if anyone needs me to go through and approve those, so let me just go through and adjust my sharing options because I know it said that it wasn't letting me share. So let me just go ahead and do that. Good. Let me see if there's any other people looking for approval. I think that should be everybody. So if you're having issues getting into anything, just let me know. But for the most part, you should be able to just click on that slideshow and go through everything. So if anyone has any questions, just let me know. But otherwise, I'm just going to turn on some music and let you guys do your thing for a couple minutes.
Thank you.
Of course. right, guys, and I know it is 11:50, so if anyone has to hop off, thank you so much for coming. Otherwise, keep looking through, keep reflecting. I'll leave it up for a couple minutes because I know we got a late start with the link not working, but thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How did you share access with the students for the sticky notes?
For the sticky notes, so you can still see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this was actually something that we struggled with yesterday. I'm going to turn the music off. So yesterday I didn't share access and I only had my kids in view mode. And so I was like, I don't understand why they can't see these sticky notes, right? But so if you click on this share button over here, it'll say you can see this get link, and then it'll say right here, you can make anyone with the link a viewer or an editor. So this is how I kind of can control it too. So if I want them to be able to use the sticky notes, I'll give them editing access. If I need them to stop doing sticky notes and kind of like focus on what we're doing, or if we're reviewing, I can change their access to viewer, and then it'll stop them from being able to make the sticky notes.
And it's everyone in the chat, everyone in the meeting.
Yeah, so everyone in the meeting, anyone who clicked on the link can access that.
The meeting link.
Yeah, so, well, anyone with the link to the Jamboard can access it. So I share the Jamboard link through my meeting. I do it like right in the chat box, just like I did today. And so as soon as they click on that, they can go ahead and click edit.
Gotcha. Share. So I have to share the Jamboard link first.
Yeah, so when I'm using it in class, so let me see if I can get to what I use.
Then make everyone editor.
Yep.
Got it. Okay. Wow, this was really interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I felt like I was spitting a lot of information out, but I'm glad everybody got something out of it.
I had something else I wanted to ask, but I can't think of it right now. Oh, can you send the video of this to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and send this recording to Mr. Adkins, and then he'll be able to upload more from there.
Okay, so it'll be on the PD site.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And then I see someone said, how do I share access with students? Did we answer that question for you? When we were just talking about changing the settings, did that question get answered? I'm going to assume it did unless someone says it didn't.
I'm pretty sure she's the one that, I think she's the one that wrote it.
Okay, okay. Just checking. Yeah, the asynchronous tracker has been a lifesaver, and Miss Ganem and I actually use it for keeping track of attendance and for keeping track of work. So I have a separate sheet, and I use that, and we just check off that they came to each, because there's 3 different sessions every day. So we use that to check off who came to which particular session. That way we can keep a little bit more detailed than what the district has us do, which is just like, did they log on today, period, not which sessions.
That one was mine.
Oh, was it? Okay, well, cool. Yes, that's what we do. So we use it to check each session. And again, the iPad and Apple Pencil, lifesaver, always.
I got like the knockoff one on Amazon, and it's been like saving my life.
Yes, yes, it's lovely. It's lovely. Yeah, and then I saw somebody said using the videos. Yeah, we definitely use a lot of videos. I use some kind of video every day, whether it's warm up or just to like break it up. There's always some kind of video. And Brain Pop is really good. I know I felt bad I wasn't able to fully answer the question for the lady about Brain Pop because I don't use Clever. I don't have access to that yet. And so when I use Brain Pop, I just pop it into my slides and use it full screen with everybody. But there's definitely a lot of differentiation you can do with that. All right. We're about 5 minutes over. So if nobody else has any questions or anything, I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And I'll see you guys all in the next one.